Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of Sitting Courtside, episode 39. One away from the big 4-0. Like always, my name is Dante.
And of course, it's your boy Jerry D here.
And playoffs are still rolling around, but we are getting so close to the NBA Finals. We already have the Boston Celtics punching their tickets back to the NBA
Congratulations.
Finals.
Congratulations, Dante.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I did all the work. I did all the work here. But yes, the Boston Celtics punched their ticket to their second NBA Finals appearance in 3 years. Now we're just waiting to see who their opponent will be, whether it's the Dallas Mavericks or Minnesota Timberwolves. That series is 3-1 as of this recording, but we will get into that just in a few minutes. But first, before we do that, please make sure to like, subscribe if you are on YouTube. Check out all the other content on this platform and our shorts as well for some gamified content. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all those different social media apps. If you're an audio only listener, we appreciate you listening. Please make sure to give us a review, 5-star rating. All that good stuff helps us out a ton. And Jerry, how are you doing today? You looking good? You feeling well? I know you're looking good. You feeling good? You ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, man. Always, there's never a dull moment. We're really getting into the thick of these playoffs now, with the climax about to happen with the NBA Finals. Psyched to see what happens, right? There's a lot of pressure, obviously, on your Celtics that we'll get to, but also even more on one of these possible teams, which we're expecting it to be Dallas to come out the West, but should be a really, really fun NBA Finals either way. But enough about me. How are you, our glorious king?
Oh, well, Jerry, I'm doing great. Celtics are in the NBA Finals. I'm coming off of a long birthday / Memorial Day weekend.
Woo, happy
Um,
belated.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the big 2-6. I'm getting up there. Yeah, long weekend. I wasn't sober for any of it, so I am coming down off of that.
Came in
What am
right.
I gonna do? I was on the lake in the Cape for all weekend. So what was I gonna do? Be sober? No, couldn't do that. So coming off of that, getting back to being 100%, ready to talk some basketball, and I don't need to waste any more time, Jerry. I say we just jump right into it. That sounds good to you.
Yeah, just like how you did the lake, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, as we mentioned a few times here, the Boston Celtics are back in the NBA Finals, the second time they've been there in the last 3 years, defeating or sweeping, I should say, the Indiana Pacers 4-0. Jaylen Brown wins the Eastern Conference Finals MVP award. Some people, were debating whether it should have been Tatum or Brown. I just had their stats pulled up and it just refreshed. I'm going to pull that up for us really quick. Jason Tatum averaged he averaged 30.3 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 6.3 assists per game this series. And Jaylen Brown averaged just a little less than 30, 29.8 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals while shooting 51.7% from the field. So this award got introduced 3 years ago. The first year Tatum won it, last year Jimmy Butler won it, and then the third year Jaylen Brown wins it. I guess the Eastern Conference Finals MVP isn't really something that it's a cool award and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's not the real thing. It's not the real Finals MVP, real
It's something
NBA.
to give to like a family member. Like, here you go, pops, or my son could have it because I want the big trophy at the end of the day.
Yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it's just a little like it's like a stepping stone. It's just like, all right, yeah, you have this, but like this isn't what you really want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I will say I'm happy Jaylen Brown won the award. I think it was very well deserved. I mean, he hit the game winner to send it to overtime, game one. He had some big fourth quarter moments this entire series. Jason Tatum, I mean, man, when the playoffs first started, people were on him. People were really, really on him about not stepping up, playing like the Jason Tatum that we have come to expect. The expectations of him is at least 30 points a game, leading this team in scoring every single night. And we've talked about how with the roster around him, he doesn't necessarily have to do that, but he needed to step up still. He really stepped up this series. He stepped up at the end of the Cleveland series as well. Jason Tatum, I mean, we just saw a superstar this series. We saw one of the best players in the world come out in Jaylen Brown. Not saying he's one of the best players in the world, but we saw one of the best versions of Jaylen Brown that we have ever seen last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. That may have been like the rock bottom of Jaylen Brown. I mean, he had just had a really bad series. He was just getting absolutely shit on for not being able to dribble with his left hand. Some people saying he cost the Celtics the series, a terrible Game 7 performance. Now it comes back a year later, Eastern Conference Finals MVP. So I guess the question I have for you is, what do you think of this Celtics team that is going into the finals, even without Kristaps Porzingis? There's no timetable right now of when he's going to come back, but it seems like he's going to be ready to go right around game 1 of the NBA Finals. What are you seeing out of the Celtics team? Tell me what you think, what you saw from them this past series. And what the biggest question is that people have been asking is, are they battle tested? Do you think that they have been tested enough to get to the NBA Finals to compete with whatever team comes out of the West?
I mean, before I even jump into all of that, to kind of piggyback of what you were talking about with Jaylen Brown, kudos to him for actually expanding his game a little bit more, becoming more decisive with the ball as a playmaker, because that's one part of his game that's probably grown the most out of everything. So I can really appreciate that because, being a good playmaker opens up the rest of your offense. So shout out to JB for that. But to answer your main question here, I can't really say that they've been battle tested. They really just manhandled most of their opponents all postseason long, which is awesome. Being what is it? What are they, like 12-2?
12-2.
So
Yeah.
it's an amazing feat to be here. I think that's like up there with the Lakers back in 2001. I think they went 15-1. The Warriors had an unbelievable postseason run before they won a title. So that's the type of company that they're trying to keep. Like, have under 5 losses, 3 losses, whatever it is, and kind of just go berserk on their way to an NBA title. But what we did learn from the Boston Celtics is that they do know how to close out games, which is kind of something that we didn't really know if we'd see, because their average margin of victory was like 15 plus points, even in the postseason, which is concerning because, wow, what if they do get into a dogfight or in the trenches with a Dallas or a Minnesota, whoever comes out that series, and they can't close out the rest of the game? But in games 1, 3, and 4, when the Pacers had the lead, I believe, with the last 90 seconds, they managed to string together some good runs. I think my Eastern Conference Finals MVP probably would have been Drew Holiday, because he made big play after big play.
Man, did he step up this series big time.
In game 3, he had a game-sealing steal on Andrew Nembhard, which put the thing away. And in game 4, when you finished the sweep, he had a big-time offensive rebound to close out their hopes. It was right there.
Absolutely.
No extra possessions for Indiana. We're not going to give them a shot. Get a big offensive rebound over Aaron Nesmith, who's supposed to be a bigger, stronger player. Drew Holiday goes up and scotch for it. So I think, as currently constructed, you guys should still be able to get this done. But without Kristaps Porzingis, I am slightly nervous, because if they do play a team like Dallas, which we're all expecting them to, if Derek Lively's healthy and Daniel Gafford is playing the way that he's been playing, that stable of bigs is going to be enough to impact everything and mess up the flow of the game.
It's going to be hard for the Celtics to contain all those guys. Al Horford's only one guy, and they know they have Xavier Tillman. They brought him in. They have Luke Cornett.
Not enough.
Not enough.
You need
not nearly enough.
KP for this series to really tip the scales in your favor, because with them, I believe the Celtics should be the favorites, and it shouldn't really be close. Like, I know that Dallas probably has the best player on the floor, but we could have a debate about that, right? Because Jason Tatum is an MVP candidate in his own right. So it should be a very good matchup, but the Celtics definitely have enough to put them over the top. We've seen it all year. They've been blowing teams out, like I mentioned. They're assembled to win championships for the rest of the decade, at least 2 to 4 more in this decade. Why not get started in 2024? But that's just as an unbiased analyst of the game, because as a Laker fan, fuck Boston.
I was waiting for that. The thing is, Jerry, to me is like, and I guess so I am speaking as a Celtics fan, but just like as a basketball fan, like there is no better time for the Celtics to win a championship than this year. Like the stars are aligning. Every player is where they need to be right now. Like you have guys under contract for a few more years. Like Tatum's going to get an extension this offseason. Brown was extended last year. He gave Drew and Kristaps little extensions. Derek White, he's doing it for an extension this offseason. dear God, they better give it to him. I think they will, but
That's a glue
these
piece.
are guys.
They
These are their core. Their core guys they could have on their roster for the next 3 to 4 years. That's their window, genuinely. So it's like, although they can bring these guys back, it's going to be another year of being older. It's going to be another year of heartbreak if they don't win this year. And it's like you can't. We had heartbreak 2 years ago. People thought the stars were aligning when the Celtics played the Warriors. You can say what you want about that Warriors team. They were the veteran team, but man, people really thought Boston had a good chance of winning that
You
series.
were the
They're up
better team.
2-1.
They were the better
Could
team.
they're the better team. It was because of this or that, whatever. At the end of the day, they lost, and it was heartbreaking. Now we're here, most dominant team in the NBA from start to finish. They were 64-18 the entire year, 12-2 in the postseason. We were talking about being clutch in the playoffs. I actually have their clutch stats for this playoffs, and a lot of this has to do with the Pacers series. But in the clutch, in the entire postseason, they have a 4-0 record, 129.3 offensive rating, 85.4 defensive rating. And for all my mathematicians out there, I am not one of them. I have it on my screen. That's a plus 43.9 net rating, outscoring opponents 53-35 and forcing 9 turnovers in those 19 minutes. So I'm not disagreeing with you when you said that they haven't been battle tested. I don't think they've been tested by playing a very good team. Like, I don't think they'll, like, whatever team they play in the finals will be the best team that they've played this postseason, without a doubt. But I think just in the way that they have won games against the Pacers has proven that they can close out games and that they can. In the Celtics of the past, dude, like, they were down double digits in game 3. I think it was game 3. They were down double digits. Any other Celtics team would have folded, and they were like, you know what? We'll chalk this one up and we'll move on to the next game.
Yep.
They finished it out. They did not give up. They kept going. And
I
I
gave them their
think
flowers for that. That's
100%.
they
And
did
I
what they had
think
to do in games 1, 3, and 4. Games that the Pacers really
they could
probably
have
should have
won
won. They probably
100%.
should have won those games,
Yeah.
but they hit a classic, let's say Reggie Miller choke for the, since they are the Pacers, they choked all
Yeah.
those games. They messed
Yeah.
up.
And the Celtics just, they took advantage of it. And I think those are wins that you need to see from a championship level team, like proving that no matter who is in front of you, you still close it out, you still get the job done. And they did. So I want to give the Celtics credit for that.
Absolutely.
And now it's just a matter of who they play next. Like, is it going to be Dallas? Is it going to be Minnesota? We can kind of jump into that now. Mavericks are up 3-1 this series. They were up 3-0. The Timberwolves win last night. I believe, what was the final score of the game last night? I think it was pretty close. I think it was like a 4 or 5 point game or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the thing is no matter what happens, the NBA Finals starts on June 6th, whether this series keeps going or not. So to the Celtics' benefit, these guys can keep playing. If it gets to a game 7, they're just gonna have less time to have that free time to relax, to recover, to get ready for the finals. So the longer the series goes, the more it benefits the Celtics. Timberwolves won 105-100 last night. Anthony Edwards had a 29-10-9 assist performance, 1 assist away from a triple double. Luka had 28, 15, and 10. I mean, do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves actually have a chance? No team in NBA history has ever come back from being down 3-0 in any series. First, second, third round, finals, nothing. Do you think the Mavericks, do you think the Minnesota Timberwolves actually could do this? They go back to Minnesota for game 5, Dallas game 6, and then they have game 7 at home. Do you think it's doable?
I mean, honestly, I always think when teams get in this situation, the team that is forced to close out the opposing team is the one that has the most pressure on them. Because if the team was
everyone expects you.
Yeah, exactly. The team was went in and played and looked like the team that we saw in the earlier rounds. Like we saw why they went 6-0 to start off their postseason. We saw why Anthony Edwards is the face of the league and everybody was pushing out these ridiculous MJ comps. We got to see that for the first time really in the last 4 games. Because even at the end of
Yeah.
the Denver series, he was still kind of laboring. It still didn't look like
Besides that one fourth quarter, he wasn't
exactly,
looking great.
exactly. So I mean, if I had to pick a team, I mean, hell, personally, I picked the Mavs to win. At the start, before we made our predictions, I said the Mavs in 7. I don't really care to be that correct. I would like to see the Mavs push on, but
Yeah.
I do believe the Timberwolves do have a shot. Like, I mean, they on paper they're the better team. If you
Yeah.
if you take the 4 stars that are on the court, Anthony Edwards, Luka, Karl Towns, and Kyrie, and let's just say the 4 of those guys cancel each other out, the Timberwolves have the rest of the best roster. Jaden
100%.
McDaniels is probably better than most of the guys on that team, and then so is Michael Conley, so is Kyle Anderson. They have more depth. They have more skilled players to get the job. Niles Reed, how could I forget? They have more skilled players to get the job done. So I mean, if Karl Towns shows up like how he did last night, which he hasn't done in the last 6 games or so,
Nope. The best shooting big man of all time.
quote unquote, right? like
Yeah. Yeah.
this is what the Timberwolves could do for 3 more times in a row. If they're able to do that, hell yeah. If we get Karl Towns to drop another 25 points and hold Kyrie in check, which was a real key last night, yeah, the T-Wolves could get this done. Now, will they? No.
There's another question.
I,
Yeah.
I don't think Karl Towns can play that consistently for the next 3 games in a row. I believe in Anthony Edwards and the rest of the bunch. I believe in them. But can Karl Towns have another solid shooting night? And you see what he did? He worked inside. Like, like how most smart big men do that do have the chance to stretch the floor. They go inside and then they go out. That's what Jokic does. That's what Joel Embiid does. That's what Anthony Davis does. Karl Towns gets trigger happy from beyond the paint, which is why he's shooting less than 20% from deep this series.
Yeah. 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 He hasn't been. I mean, honestly, the biggest X factor for the Timberwolves is Karl Anthony Towns. Again, like Anthony Edwards in this series, he's averaging a little less than 24 points, 8 rebounds, almost 9 rebounds, and 8 assists a game. Those numbers, like the 9 rebounds and 8 assists, is actually very impressive. He's had 2 straight games of being one stat away from a triple double, and in game 1, he was 2 assists away. Even though Anthony Edwards might not be scoring at the level that we might be expecting him to, because I think at this point, like Anthony Edwards is a guy that even at the young age of 22, I think it's expected for him to have at least like a 30-point game. Like, I think he needs to put up those numbers for the Minnesota Timberwolves to win these games. Last night he had 29, which was his highest scoring game in the series.
Yep.
We know, like, this Timberwolves team, they can get hot and they get that momentum and they can keep rolling. If they can keep rolling, I don't think they're going to come back from down 3-0. No. But I do think being in Minnesota next game, even though home court is kind of like, and we saw it last series against Denver, home court doesn't really mean too much. I mean, not that it doesn't mean anything, but like you can win anywhere. It could make things interesting. That it only takes one win to light that fire, to get things going, to give guys that boost of confidence. But I think it comes down to Karl Anthony Towns and what he does, because at this point, Luka, I mean, he had a triple double last night, but he shot 7 for 21. That was his worst shooting game of the series. Can you count on him to shoot that poorly again?
No.
Next game. Kyrie Irving shot 6 for 18. Also his worst shooting performance of the series. You had two of the greatest offensive players that we have seen in our lifetime, at least, have their worst shooting nights of this series. You had to win that game. You know what I mean? It's like you have to take advantage of that. Now it's a matter of, can you replicate that? I don't know if you can do that. I think that they can hold their own. Again, they have that confidence. They can keep that fire going, that momentum. But if Luka and Kyrie even have decent scoring nights where they're not shooting 30% from the field, this series is a wrap. Comes down to Karl Anthony Towns, too, like you said.
I think it's important to also note, maybe Karl Towns felt that comfortable because he wasn't being hounded by 2 bigs the entire night. Because Derek Lively missing game 4 had a big impact.
Yeah, that's big. Mm-hmm.
Like the way that Jason Kidd has been playing the stable of bigs all postseason long, really since they acquired Gafford, was to play them in spurts, right? Daniel Gafford plays hard for the first 4 to 5 minutes, subbing Derek Lively. Another capable live body, no pun intended, that I believe still hasn't missed a single shot in these Western Conference Finals yet.
Yeah.
It's like 13 for 13 or whatever it is. But
right.
Obviously, they're both lob targets. They're both good defensive bigs. I think Derek Lively is a little bit better of a passer as a rookie, which is so crazy to say. I really like his game. Might be my favorite big in the game, no cap. Like, I really do like the way he's kind of processing and developing things in his head on the court. But him not being present in game 4, I felt like his presence was missed. So,
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
game 5, possibly plays if there is a game 6. I don't know. Like Karl Towns seeing that many bodies, it messes with them. It's
Crazy to think that a rookie is making that much of a difference in
hey,
this far into the season.
as far as I'm concerned, the Mavericks bigs have outplayed the Timberwolves bigs this series, and one of them's a
I mean,
four-time DPOY.
we I was gonna say we don't have to talk about Rudy Gobert. I feel like everyone
Hey,
has seen all the shit talk from
no,
Draymond Green and all that.
yes, but
He
when
has
I
been
say
ripped
bigs,
apart.
I mean I'm talking Karl Towns, I'm talking Rudy, he's involved, and Naz Reid have been
Hmm.
outplayed by Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, which is,
Yeah,
again, they have all the accolades. All the Timberwolves bigs have, Karl Towns is an all-star.
the all-star appearances,
Yeah.
Defensive Player of the Year, it's the
And
Sixth
the
Man of
fifth
the Year
man.
award.
You're
Yeah,
losing to a mid-season acquisition in a
a
rookie.
rookie. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Karl Anthony Towns' stats this series. He had 25 points this past game, shot 9 for 13 and 4 for 5 from 3.
Great.
He hadn't scored more than 16 points this series. He shot 69%, very nice this last game, and the highest field goal percentage he had before that was 30%. And he shot 4 for 5 from 3. He's shooting 7 for 27 in this entire series, so he hit more than half. He hit 4 of his 7 threes this series in just this last game alone. So I
Yes.
think it is pretty evident that Derek Lively being out, that changes their defensive scheme and like what they do to Karl like the Towns, how many bodies throw at him, and that helps Towns in this case. So I mean, if Derek Lively misses next game, that could be a big factor if this game goes to game 6, if it extends the series or not. I don't know if there's any. I'm gonna look it up right now. If there's any word on Derek Lively's if he'll be active, he doesn't have a concussion apparently.
It's a
He
sprained
cleared.
neck.
It's a sprained neck,
Still
so
questionable, is what I
still.
think the last thing I saw.
But I think him not having a concussion is a good sign, because then if you're in concussion protocol and everything like that, God knows, how long he can be out for. I'm not finding anything on there now, but he is questionable to play tomorrow night, or as of this recording, the 30th. So yeah, man, Derek Lively, he's a game changer for the Mavericks. So he's a big part of containing that Timberwolves team.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens there. See if Minnesota has a chance to make it, but as of right now, most likely it's looking like we're going to get the Celtics versus Mavericks, Jason Tatum versus Luka Doncic, which I think is the matchup that the NBA wants and will be happy to get. You get two young superstars, ringless superstars, going head to head to see who gets their first chip. Kyrie versus his old team, which is him going back to Boston, will just be
Oh my God.
insane. That is
Oh
just
my
going to
God.
be a hot. You want to talk about hostile environments? The
Hey
most
man,
the most hostile of environments that we will see since Kyrie
that's
Irving has left Boston.
that's not something I'm looking forward to the basketball matchup.
I'm looking
I'm
forward to the
excited about that.
basketball aspect of it. I'm afraid of what else could be happening,
I
which
don't
it's
I don't
terrible.
I
But
want to see all these, racial slurs that I'm sure will be thrown out about Kyrie from Celtics fans and all these other different things. And I, all that, let's just keep it respectful. You can boo him. You can say he sucks.
you can boo him out of the building if you
I don't,
want.
yeah,
That's fine.
I don't give a damn about that, but let's
There
try
it's
to
it's
stay respectful.
just it's just those few bad apples, man. Like it's terrible because like I'm a Boston sports fan. I'm a Celtics fan, and it's very stereotypical of like people saying like Celtics fans are this and that. Which when you have all these people, like these select few people that say that shit, it's like it's tough because that's the rep that we get. So hopefully everyone everyone that has that says that shit, that feels that way, stay the fuck home. Don't go to the game. Don't ruin it for everyone. Don't make us
Oh
look
man,
worse than how we already look. Just let it be basketball. It's just basketball, man.
Hey,
It's just basketball. That's all it
at
is.
some point, kids cover your ears if you're not too aware of this. But at some point on Twitter, KKK Celtics was trending. So,
Yeah.
so I'm just saying,
Hey, multiple times I've seen them trending on Twitter before,
it's
and I have a feeling that we're going to be seeing something this year. I don't know.
yeah,
I feel like
it's a good.
Kyrie's going to say something, or like someone said something to him. Someone's going to say something, and it's terrible.
Hey,
But
you know what? Pack your sage, Kyrie. It's time to go
yeah,
back. Time to
he
go back
needs
to Boston,
he
baby.
needs to be in TD hours before the game starts, sage going down every single aisle, saging every seat.
Hell,
But
man,
yeah, a lot of storylines that series too. Even Chris Stapps
yeah,
playing against his old team too. So there's a lot of history between these two teams. A lot of these players. Um, I'm excited if that's what it ends up being. I'm excited for it. So,
for
but
sure.
we shall see what happens over the next few days. But yeah, that's all I really have of the two series. We have a few other topics, a few other news things that have come out over the last few days that we can kind of jump into now. Before we filmed, Ty Lue signed a contract extension with the Clippers. Jerry, you were the first person I thought of when I saw it because the Clippers are keeping one of the best head coaches in the NBA for at least a few more years. He's not leaving. I'm not leaving. I'm not fucking leaving. That's what he said. That's what he said when he signed that contract, Jerry. I'm sorry.
it,
He's not going to be the Lakers head coach next season.
he had another year anyway. It's just it's to be honest though, man. It's kind of stifling to me because I think there's so much uncertainty amongst the Clippers organization that I'm not even sure they know which way they're going. Like, they invested into Kawhi Leonard already, gave him the
Mm-hmm.
bag. He's going to be locked in for the next 2, 3 years or whatever it is. But everything else is up in the air. There's no guarantee that Paul George does come back. There's no guarantee you
There's,
keep Harden, you keep
yeah,
Russ. I don't know what the direction of the team is, but you know what? You still have a franchise player or the face of the franchise in Kawhi, which you don't know if he's going to be available in the playoffs now. He was available in the regular season. Shout out to him. Made an All NBA second team over LeBron,
second
which is
team.
so
Mm-hmm.
bogus. But, he did what he had to do to stay healthy to
Yeah.
get his extra money. In the postseason, couldn't go. Probably why we're talking about the Mavs being in the Western Conference Finals right now instead of them. And then,
Yeah.
but you locked him in. You locked in Ty Lue. So you got your face. You got your head coach. I guess let's see how they fill out the rest of
Now
the
you
roster.
figure everything else out. But hey, Jerry, luckily for you, don't get Ty Lue. But
Oh, come on.
JJ Redick is right around the corner. It is looking like he's the favorite to become the next head coach of the Lakers. A few guys were interviewing a part of the process. I believe Sam Cassell was one of them, Celtics assistant, and then
James
uh,
Borrego.
there you go. So there are a few guys interviewing part of the process, but it is looking like LeBron James podcast buddy will
Why do
be.
you have to go there?
Hey, they have a podcast together. I'm not lying. I'm just saying. So I mean, you have a guy that is very buddy with LeBron. They talk about things all the time on their podcast. I'm sure behind the scenes they talk about basketball all the time. He could be JJ Redick could be his coach next season. And hey, listen, you are all for him being the Hornets head coach when he was a part of that
It's
process.
different.
What do you mean it's different?
Dude,
Come on.
let
His
me,
first coaching job as for the Los Angeles Lakers, I'm sure it's going to go great. I'm sure
Dante.
nothing will go wrong.
See, look, you can keep that bullshit ass sarcasm. You can keep that sarcasm in Boston, in Massachusetts, wherever the fuck you're at. I don't care because let me tell you something. This Lakers head coaching job has been nothing but a revolving door every 2 seasons. We're
It's a
talking
curse.
about, oh damn,
It's a curse.
yeah, like, oh, they couldn't win. Let's get this guy in. Let's put this guy in. Like, I'm sick of the turnover, man. Luke Walton to Frank Vogel, who wins a championship, and then they mess up the roster, and he pays, so he loses his job. And out of nowhere, we're sitting here with Darvin Ham, who was just holding his ham in his hands and ended up ripping off anyway. Because his clipboards were empty. There was nothing for a play call.
He wasn't even the one drawing plays on the sidelines. That wasn't even him.
I don't know if bringing in I think JJ has the potential to be a really good head coach. I think it's there. But the reason I'm
But
so hyped
man,
for the Hornets is because that's the perfect building block. A starter experience for you to really dip your feet in the pool, see what you're working with. You have a 22-year-old all-star in LaMelo Ball who still needs to be, he's still a blank canvas. You can still dye him and help him find out his color, find out how to win games, along with Brandon Miller, along with Mark Williams. That's a nice, young, developmental situation that you would have been given at least 3 years to try to figure something out. As long as you're progressing in the right direction, we'll give you 3 to 4 years to make the postseason potentially. That could have been the handshake agreement with the Hornets brass. With the Lakers, the Buss family, dude, no. Next year, let's say the Lakers miss the postseason. All right, JJ's on the hot seat. JJ's on the hot seat. And the worst thing about this,
immediately.
that like in sports, but primarily in basketball, you only really get maybe 1 to 2 seasons to really figure things out and try to trend in the right direction. Frank Vogel didn't last another year. Doc Rivers replaced Adrian Griffin, who only coached 43 games.
And he had a pretty good record, too,
He
for the
was
first
30 and
40-something games.
13. So JJ Redick goes 48 and 34, which it still might probably be enough to get into the Western Conference playoff picture, but you're an 8th seed and you're losing the play-in, or you get inside the playoffs and you lose in the first round. Ooh, I don't know about JJ. The motherfucker got his first head coaching job with the most high-profile player in NBA history.
Ever.
And
Yeah.
it's the Lakers, which is probably the most storied franchise up there with Boston. I'm not going to forget about you. In NBA history. And you have Anthony Davis, who could be a top 5 player. And let's say we bring in a third star, like let's just swing for the fences, right? Let's say we bring in Donovan Mitchell. Expectations is championship or bust.
Scott, you got to win a championship first season, JJ, or you're out.
His first season as a head coach, in his first season being a head coach in anything. He said it on
he hasn't
TV.
even had a coach. Has he even had? He's never been an assistant.
He's coached his kids,
9
year olds. This is going to be his first head coaching job, not high school, not collegiate, in the NBA with the best player of all time, arguably, and one of the best premier two-way players. This is a match made in hell. I felt that way for Frank Vogel when he took over an offensive scheme when he's a defensive mind. JJ, prove me wrong. I hope you prove me wrong. I really do. If you get the job, but the locker room is not going to. I know I'm going long here. I'm going to give you the floor.
No, please.
The locker room is
I don't think there's anything else I got to add.
The locker room's not going to respect you. I think it's going to take a lot, right? Because they could either go 1 or 2 ways. The first way, hey, you know what? This is LeBron's boy. All my teammates and stuff, we're all cool with Bron, man. Like, yeah, JJ is a good piece. He played in the league for 15 years, one of the best shooters, top 10, top 15 shooter all time, whatever you want to call it. Or, wow, the Lakers are really some bitches. They bent over and gave LeBron what he wanted, regardless of what Brian Windhorst and everybody else.
People are saying he has no say in it.
I don't care about that. I'm not hearing that. We weren't born yesterday. So we're going to get LeBron James's boy, his homie, that he does a podcast with once a week, which I don't know if it's going to keep going.
Would it keep going? Would they keep doing the podcast?
They need to.
No way, right? No, they can't do it.
No, LeBron.
But hey, if he gets fired after, then they can pick it back up.
Sure.
And they can do it.
I'm cool with that. But no, like that, because I don't know. Me personally, if Clutch Points brought in somebody, this is like a form of nepotism, it feels like.
Honestly,
I don't know how to feel about it. As Anthony Davis or somebody, or Austin Reeves. It's like, I mean, this JJ cool. It's nothing against him as a person, but damn, like how
this is the guy we bring in. There's no one else.
What about what like James Borrego? I don't know. I don't really even like our coaching candidates, our pool or selection.
Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, not a good few guys to choose from. Listen, all I'm saying is right now, Mark Stein is reporting that JJ Redick is already looking for assistants to join his staff, and the Lakers will make a formal announcement after the NBA Finals. Chris Haynes said, "I'll be very surprised if their next head coach is anybody but JJ Redick." It seems at this point it is a it seems like it's a done deal at this point. We're just waiting for the announcement to be made. And, I think it would be really funny. I think it would be a very
What do you mean funny?
entertaining season.
What is wrong
I,
with you?
I'm just saying, I think as from an outsider looking in, I think LeBron James, only a few years left in the league, you giving him a rookie head coach, guy that does a podcast with. I mean, I think it's just, Jerry. I think you should have more faith in this. I think it would go. I think it's going to go great. I think it's going to go fantastic. I don't see how any of this could go wrong.
No comment.
Well, all right. Speaking of nepotism, let's talk about his son. Let's talk about LeBron. Let's talk about Bronny James Jr. because Bronny James is officially in the NBA draft, as we know, but he what's the word I'm looking for? He withdrew from college, his college eligibility, so now he can't go back to college. I think maybe, I don't know the exact rules that go into it. Maybe you can, but I don't know. Anyways, he's going to get drafted this year. It's at this point, it's like him withdrawing means he's going to get drafted. 10 teams wanted to have him come in for a workout. He declined all of them except for 2 teams, the Phoenix Suns and his daddy's team, the Los Angeles Lakers. And the Phoenix Suns have the 22nd pick in the draft. And I think the Lakers, do they only have the 55th pick? I don't know. Do they have a first round pick?
To my understanding, no, we do not.
Okay. Let me just make sure of this so we're not so I'm not speaking any bullshit into here. So 2024, yes, the first round pick they had is owned by the Pelicans because of the Anthony Davis trade. So yes, they only have the second round pick, which I believe is the 55th pick. He's just working out for them. There have been all these rumors and reports of the Suns going to get Bronny and hoping to get LeBron on a minimum deal and bring him into Phoenix. That is ridiculous. I mean, I think they can definitely bring in Bronny. If they bring in Bronny, it is because they're hoping to get LeBron. So that's what I believe, but I don't believe LeBron will go to Phoenix. I mean, obviously, if he's there, I don't know what teams' mindsets are of the whole, like, if we draft him, his dad will follow, because we've talked about this. I think we're at a point where it's like LeBron isn't leaving LA. It would be a long shot if he did. I'm sure he wants to play with his son, but it's not like the end goal. It's not like what he needs to happen for him anymore. So I don't know, if he'll even fall that low. I'm not going to sit here and say whether or not I believe he should even be drafted or not. If you take away his name, if you look at his stat line from his freshman year, that's a stat line of a player that's like, okay, he's going to go back for another 2-3 years at minimum. Him going to the draft and stuff this year, I'm not trying to be like he's only getting drafted because of his dad. I'm not trying to say he's not a good basketball player by any means, but it just seems like he's got a lot on his side here. He's got a lot of momentum for him. Had a good combine and everything, which is great. But do you think he's a first round pick? Second of all, do you think the Lakers or any of these teams should go after him? What are your thoughts on Bronny? I mean, what do you think he'll end up?
I'm not sure. Like, if he's going to be a first round pick, it should be late first round, like 27th.
Mm-hmm. People, you know how many people are betting on him going first overall?
No way. I mean, like,
the odds for that, like, people are betting so much on it. That's so stupid. That's
this
just a waste of money.
Is already it's not the greatest.
Not a great one. Not the greatest.
It may be if he actually, unfortunately had the cardiac arrest situation where he couldn't really play the rest of his freshman year, which sucks. Which is why personally I thought he would have went back to school. I thought he was just going to test the waters to see what it looks like, but I'm actually kind of shocked, but not really, that he's throwing his name into the hat and committing to the process. But no, I think he's going to end up being a second round pick more than likely. I think teams that are believing that LeBron will actually join them, they need to take a look in the mirror real quick and see what they look like, including Matt Ishbia's sons, which
wipe off that makeup and take off the clown wig.
Yes, honestly, because the Suns' problem, they don't need a LeBron James. That's not what they need to add. They don't need another big name. That's the last thing they need. Yeah. So I'm I'm a little iffy about it. I think Bronny will be a solid player in the league. I think he could be a solid, like a good rotational piece. Maybe not right away. Maybe he is a G League player for the first couple seasons or whatever it is. But I believe the NBA talent's there. The measurements are there. I know he's 6'1", 6'2", whatever, without shoes. So yeah, he's a little on the shorter side, but he's a bouncy athlete, and that's something that can always be molded into something. So
I think he has plenty of potential, and I think if he goes to the right team, the right coaching staff, right training staff, I
gotta
think
work with him.
he can become a good player. What would be the funniest thing in the world? The Celtics have the opportunity to just do something that would be just
Let's just say.
diabolical, and that's take him at 54, one pick before the Lakers at 55. I'm not saying I want the Celtics to draft Bronny. I'm just saying they could do something hilarious. They could do something really funny. I don't know. I don't know if they will. I don't think they will, but that would be something if he did that. I bet you Rich Paul would be like, "We're not signing. He's not signing. You better trade him, or he's sitting out."
Man,
But
it's just a weird situation. Like I don't even really know what to say about it. You know, honestly, with
mhm.
Bronny,
yeah,
it's weird.
this ultimately this draft, as shitty as it sounds, it's this whole draft is going to be talked about and revolved around Bronny James. That's all people are going to be talking about. It's like, oh,
You're right.
next pick is Bronny going to be taken here? Oh, 10 picks have gone by. Why hasn't anyone taken Bronny? Is he going to go? Like it's all going to be about him. It's all going to be about him. And again, it's not a great draft class, so it's not like there aren't a lot of big name players. It's not like there's no Wembenyamas. There's no Zion Williamsons. There's no Cade, not even a Cade Cunningham. You know what I mean? It's like there's good players. Not to say that they're all bad players, but it's like there's no standalone superstars. But there is one big name player, and that's LeBron James' son, Bronny James Jr. So that's who we'll be talking about. But yeah, I'm very interested to see because it's one of those things where it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna find out on draft night. So
Late first round, maybe early second round pick.
yeah,
Sometime he's definitely going to get drafted. I believe he will
yeah,
get drafted.
100%. Well, we'll just have to see. The draft's in a few weeks. I don't know when the actual draft is, but NBA draft 2024. I believe it's the end of this month, June 26th. So a little over a month away. So we'll see what happens then. But that's all we got today, Jerry. Do you have any closing comments? Anything you want to add before we sign off here?
Caitlin Clark's baller man dropped 30 points last night for the first time. Joined Brianna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu as the only rookies to put up, I believe, 35-5. So she's figuring it out, guys. Let's not overreact, okay? She's going to be very good. That's all.
Mm-hmm. I would be remiss if we didn't end this episode giving a shout out and giving our
Oh
condolences
yes.
to the Walton family, Bill Walton. One of the most dynamic, electric, talked about, and most probably well respected and loved NBA players of all time passed away this past weekend or a few days ago. Was on the NBA 75th anniversary team. Was on the 50th anniversary team as well. Two-time champ, former MVP, and just like just an all around great guy. I mean, I'm sure you've seen all these tributes. People have been tweeting videos, posting texts, sharing stories of their experiences with Bill Walton over the last few days. And you know, uh, it just seemed like the world really lost someone that, meant a lot to a lot of people. So give our condolences to the Walton family, to everyone that was friends with him. He will be greatly missed, and I will miss his college basketball commentary, his play by play, because that was always must see television. But
Yeah, the
we'll
dude,
always.
the larger than life personality that everybody mentioned. I think we got pieces of that through the broadcast, right? So it is sad to see a legend in this, right? A Celtics and Blazers legend, hell, to kind
Mhm.
of go away. 71's not super old, man. So, hug your loved ones, be a friend, tell a friend something nice, man. Change their life.
Hell yeah, and I think one thing too is like people would say like he would always say he was the luckiest man alive. Like he was just so happy to be doing what he did, to have the friends and family that he did, and just live life to the fullest every day. There's one thing you want to take from Bill, it's that. So rest in peace, Bill Walton. Condolences, thoughts, prayers to his family. But that's how I want to close out this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe if you are on YouTube. Put in the comments your thoughts on the NBA Finals coming up, who you think will be facing the Boston Celtics, and where you think Bronny James is going to be drafted. Because at this point, it's anyone's guess. It's anyone's game to get him at this point. If you're an audio only listener, please make sure to give us a 5-star rating. Give us a review. We appreciate it. Check out the shorts here on YouTube as well. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. And until the Big 4-0, episode 40, peace out.